Nice to meet you.
How are you? I'm Peg Lorraine.
Ryan,
Nice to meet you.
Well, nice to meet you.
Yeah, do you have
Wait for me.
We lost our screen, Judd.
Oh, hey, Steve, you might have hit a wire.
Check the wires there. I think we just came unplugged.
Jen, is that chair behind you working?
One in the corner. Lisa has just a terrible tilt.
This is completely broken.
We can't.
Yeah, you could try it and sit in it.
No, I don't think.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just going to sit in
What
this
about
chair.
the one next to Steve?
Yeah, that's fine.
Steve's got a chair that brown.
I don't need to be a princess. I'll just be
You all right with this?
squash.
Steve, do you want to wait for Greg or should we get going?
Oh, it's 6:31.
1 second, Dan.
This conference will now be recorded.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the April 29th Select Board meeting. Start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do you have any minutes?
We do. We have 3 sets of minutes. I will make a motion that we approve the minutes of the April 9th, 2024 meeting as submitted.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Aye.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of April 11th, 2024 as submitted.
Well, that was on your-
I can't second that one.
Second?
Yeah,
So
Jen
Ron
already
seconded
seconded.
them.
Jen seconded already. So.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I will make a motion that we approve the minutes of April 16th, 2024.
It's just the three of us.
Just waiting, yeah. Okay,
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and 2 abstentions for that
that's
one.
everything.
Us.
Rod and
We weren't there.
So tonight, number 3, we rarely use this, additions to the agenda with the board chair's consent. Tonight we have with us Brian Downing of the Granby Bow and Gun Club, which we've met with some residents recently about. And I think it's great that they're here. They'd like to make a statement, but as in past practice, because it's not on our agenda, we can't ask any questions tonight. So with that, I'd like to offer Mr. Downing a chance to read a statement.
All right. Stand or sit?
Your choice.
All right. I'll stand for you. Okay, so we prepared this statement for you guys tonight. We've got copies that we'll leave with you. Dear members of the Belchertown Board of Health, Board of Select meeting here. The club appreciates the opportunity at tonight's Board of Selectmen's meeting to update the town on its investigation of the March 29th, 2024 Belchertown stray bullet incident. First, the club's preliminary investigation concerning the shooting activities on March 29, 2024 indicates it is not responsible for the stray bullet. Nevertheless, as a courtesy to the residents and out of the abundance of caution, the club has continued to maintain a voluntary temporary cessation of all rifle shooting. Second, the club has cooperated with the police-led investigation. It has provided the district attorney with all information requested concerning the identity of anyone who was at the club's property on the date of March 29th, 2024 incident. And we understand that the police investigators have been methodically contacting these individuals. Third, the club has retained leading experts, which we have attached, you guys can see afterwards, to examine the homeowner's site of impact and state police recovered bullet evidence as soon as possible. Today, the club sent out letters to 3 homeowners whose residents were impacted by stray bullets in the past year, requesting permission to evaluate the site of impact with a police officer present if they wish, along with club counsel. You can see again attached letters for those. The club also sent out FOIA request today to the town and the police requesting all correspondence from the residents concerning the stray bullets and a copy of the police's 2023 investigation report. You can see attached FOIA request for that, which we'll turn over there. In addition, the club sent out a request to the police today for access by the club's experts to examine the recovered bullets. That'll be attached as well. We appreciate everything you can do to encourage and facilitate prompt access to these critical evidence. The club continues to maintain that it was not the source of any stray bullets in Belchertown. Nevertheless, out of an abundance of caution, while the investigation proceeds, the club offers the following over the next 2 months. Provided the club's experts are given specific dates when they may examine the site of impact and recovered bullets, the club is willing to continue to voluntarily suspend all individual rifle shooting for the next 2 months. The club would allow previously scheduled competitive and training rifle events to proceed, as these events are difficult to cancel and relocate and are heavily monitored by range safety officers and subject to extensive range and match or training rules. As part of this proposal, the club would also agree to inform the homeowners and the town at least a week in advance of the date and time of any formal event involving rifle and keep an internal record of shooters, firearms, the range safety officers, etc., that are participating in those events. The club would like to remind the board that it has coexisted peacefully with the houses on Mountain View since the time they were built, approximately 30 years ago. As the 2022 Massachusetts Land Court decision confirmed, the club's rifle shooting activities and distance are not new. The club's rifle range has included targets at distances out to 1,000 yards throughout its long history. We appreciate the town of Belchertown being extremely measured and careful in responding to the stray bullets claims. It is essential to allow the police investigation and a proper investigation by qualified experts to proceed and be concluded without a baseline rush to judgment. For over 70 years, it has been the mission of the Granby Bow and Gun Club to provide a safe shooting location in the area by making safety its #1 priority. The club's excellent safety record over its decades of existence is proof that its continuous efforts to maintain and enhance safety has been successful. Being a responsible and courteous member of the community, it is what has made the club a multi-generational success, as it works to ensure public safety by passing on timeless, constitutionally protected training and skills to future generations. Please do not hesitate to reach out to me at any time if you have any questions. We have that sign. And everything that I annotated is attached. We're going to provide this with you and the attachments.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
If the board would like electronic copies, we're happy to provide those. We just didn't have email addresses. And we were taking down force copying these materials repetitively. So we brought copies for all of the individual homeowners. They want copies, the 3 homeowners. And we brought copies for the Board of Health, if they would like a copy, with all the exhibits. And you have 1 copy with all the exhibits today.
yeah,
And we can send you an electronic copy.
that'd be very helpful. Thank you.
Can you give me the email?
We direct all everything to Steve Williams. So that'd be swilliams@belchertown.org. So like this is a little unusual, right? Letting people talk to the board like when they're not on the agenda. It doesn't happen all that often. So you have us at a little bit of a disadvantage tonight because we can't ask any questions. But I would like to acknowledge the spirit with which you're here, right? It's important that you guys show it voluntarily. I appreciate it. I'm sure my board members would agree with me, although they can't say it, right? I guess if I had a request, that would be to continue the conversation, the requests that you have, channel them through Steve Williams, our town manager, and I'm certain that Steve probably has a few things he'd like to talk to you guys about as well, right? I think we can all agree on the it's just a rough situation, right? It's just a rough situation. So I would encourage to continue the open dialogue like we're doing tonight, and like let's figure things out, right? So Steve, if you wouldn't mind just taking over from here, I think it'd be really helpful. I mean, after me. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, I appreciate you being here tonight. And if we could maybe exchange, private phone numbers, cell numbers, so that we can keep in better communications, that would be appreciated. And thank you for responding to my letter. I was hopeful that we would have this sooner than later, so I really do appreciate you coming in, and I look forward to working with you. We'll do our best to get what you need.
Thank you, sir. Wish we could ask you questions, but that's not the purpose of tonight.
So will there be no discussion of this tonight because it's not on the agenda, is that, or could there be a public comment and question period that?
Do you want to confer with council whether or not we can?
I think we need to wait for council to tell us.
Right here, last row.
Oh, here he is.
Do you want to answer now, Greg, or do you want to take it offline?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I just walked in. So is this public comment?
No.
No, not tonight.
We didn't specifically have this on the agenda. It was placed as an addition. It was a last-minute request by the Granby Bow and Gun Club.
I think you're offering to take questions at another date? No? Maybe?
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that you, that the board engage in substantive discussions.
We weren't going to.
And we wouldn't
This-
recommend it either.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
frankly.
But you could certainly put it on an agenda for a future.
Wonderful. So if you all wouldn't mind working with Steve to find a time that works for everybody to come in and talk about it for public comment, that'd be fantastic.
So there'll be no public discussion tonight on this topic?
Not tonight.
And we're free to go because we're not going to be missing anything.
You're not going to say anything.
Yeah, we didn't have the opportunity to invite the residents, so there's nobody here for this matter tonight.
Okay. Well, their letters went out today and copies of what we submitted to you, so
Perfect.
great.
Thank you very much.
Outstanding. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it.
Thanks for the time. Thank you very much.
Moving on. The conversations with our town manager, Steve Williams, we're going to postpone his public review, and we're going to go into our police chief, Kevin Bakunis' review. Kevin, if you wouldn't mind coming up front. Thank you for sending along the documents for your review tonight. I guess we should give you the first chance to tell us what's on your mind tonight.
Yep, so I put together a little overview of what went on over the year with a few stats and my goals and objectives that were submitted at the beginning of the fiscal year in the packet that you got. So when I became chief of police 2 years ago, one of my main goals and objectives was school safety. So we had a lot of training around that this year. Every officer attended 16 hours of active shooter training at the high school. 8 hours of it was classroom, and 8 hours of it was live training situations, simulations. All the training, equipment, overtime costs were covered through a grant, which is good. Along the lines of school safety, I worked with Chief Ingram, and we had tabletop training exercises at all the schools. Basically, the principal, vice principal, school staff were all given a sheet that they read off that would go around the table if there was to be an active shooter. So those were good exercises. We did those at all the schools. As we do every year, we conducted lockdown drills at the schools. So with all this training, I feel like we're in a really good place with our training if we did have to respond to one of those situations. It had been over 10 years since we had any of this kind of training. So we had a lot of training. It was all free to the town. That was good. Along the same lines, I had 3 officers trained as instructors to train town employees in active shooter. So library was involved, the staff here. I think some of the DPW even came up. That was just a one-day training for the staff of the buildings here. We all went to anti-bias training at the police station, 8-hour training. Ian Sear from the deputy chief from UMass conducted the training, top-notch training. That was on my goals and objectives from year one also, to get that training in. And all the officers and sworn and non-sworn personnel have met and exceeded all the MPTC training requirements. So training was good this year. We're really pleased with it. We covered a lot of things that we haven't been getting over the last few years. Grants, I go after every grant I see, no matter how big or how small it is. We had some really big ones this year. Body-worn camera grant, $58,000. We're waiting on a contract with the police to implement it, but the money's there and ready to go when we do get the collective bargaining agreement signed. $29,000 for traffic enforcement. As you know, speeding is like the biggest complaint we get. This goes a long way to targeting those areas where we get the complaints. Our domestic violence grant was renewed 3 more years, and they extended it 1 year, and that helps pay for an advocate, a full-time employee, police officer salary, and resources towards victims and training for officers. As I said, the active shooter grant, and we also got some computer equipment for a interview room. Our interviews, computers and cameras were all out of date, so that was all updated. Our DART grant, drug addiction recovery team, $17,000. CIT grant, $24,000. We do get quite a bit of grants for our dispatching, $116,000, and some miscellaneous grants. We purchased a fingerprint machine, the drug take-back box. We found out you can get $1,300 just for having it. We got $3,200 reimbursed for the one of the officers that went to the police academy, and we got an AED that was $2,500. And then our community engagement. This is our bread and butter. We got our tribute banners going up in a couple weeks. This is the biggest year we've had yet. We have 45 banners going up as of right now. Our Summer Youth Academy, July 15th to 19th. That's for 8th grade through 12th grade. It's a week long. We got our National Night Out in August at Chestnut Hill. Our Comfort Dog program that we implemented this year has been extremely popular, successful. Everybody requests him all the time. He's been getting a lot of training. He trains an hour a week with Harmony Acres personalized training. So he's had roughly 25 hours training. He's had 80 hours of community policing hours, meaning where he goes out for an hour or two and goes to an event. He graduated dog obedience and socialization class. He's up for another class. He's got a lot of training. I'll be asking for a twin bill next year, probably. I've been working behind the scenes on our regionalization of our dispatch center. We've been working with Steve and Chief Ingram and Tony Gentile and Wilbraham. We're ready to go. It's a couple months away, and starting in May, we're going to be having days where they're going to run the show. Our dispatchers will be in there also, still doing their job, but we're going to have a bunch of dry runs to make sure everything's going good. All the administrative stuff we've been doing behind the scenes, so we're in good shape. Come July 1st. Accreditation. It's our first year of our current award, and we're meeting and fulfilling all the standards to be reaccredited in June of 2026. Our budget's in good shape. We should be under again this year. Overtime's going to be closer. We've had some dispatchers that are out, that have left. A couple of officers have been hurt, so we're might be a little bit over on that. And of course, everything going on, we get our share of serious and major investigations, and you can see those listed there. And then our statistics they're pretty consistent. Calls have gone up a little bit, citations have gone up a lot because the officers are doing a great job going out to the areas where we're getting the complaints. And that's pretty much all I have.
Thanks, Chief. Let's start with any questions or comments from the board. Lisa, do you want to go first?
I think you're outstanding. I mean, you're doing a great job. I'm a big fan. The calls for service, because they're so big, what does that break down? I mean, what is that?
So a call for service could be anything. It could
Right,
be
but it's so
something that's
big.
it's any call that we get, pretty much.
Okay,
And then an incident report would be a more serious thing where there could be a crime involved or something that requires a written report. We could get a call for like a bear in the woods behind someone's property. That would just be a call.
so anything that's like not really a problem.
Correct. I mean, it could be a problem, but something doesn't necessarily require a police report. It goes in our police log, it's documented,
Okay.
but doesn't always require like a written report, if you will.
Well, and the other thing is, I noticed incidents reports have gone up over the past 3 years, and they're, at least by 2023. I don't know where we are in terms of where we were last year at this time, but what are we talking about? What kind of?
I think, just the population goes up, more people are out and about, COVID's over with. I don't think there's really any pattern or any issues there.
Same with crashes, because those are going up
The
as well.
crashes are up for whatever reason quite a bit.
Yeah.
But, you got people texting, a lot of distracted driving, and we're trying to target that, but I think that's where the crashes are coming from.
That'd be interesting just to look at this year is where are the problem areas? We kind of know where they are, but
Yeah, we do know where they are, and when we write the traffic enforcement grant, we have to go to the streets that have crashes as well.
Yeah.
They force us to target those areas.
so I guess the follow-up to that is, and so if this is where the crashes are, what safety plans can be put in place that are cost-effective, that could help lower that?
Yeah.
Beyond that, I mean, all of this, plus I haven't got my Pride patch yet, but I understand they're available now.
They're selling quick. You better
So
get one.
I will be getting one, but thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. Peg?
I have no questions for you, Kevin. I think your work is outstanding. I think your officers are outstanding. I love the new programs that you introduced. Oliver's adorable, and I'm just grateful that we have you. And I think we're very fortunate.
Thank you.
Jen?
Oh, okay. Echo. And the Blue Envelope program definitely struck me as something amazing that you guys have introduced to town. The diversity in the force has been much better than it has been. I think you're doing outstanding stuff. I mean, I sent the Pride thing. I was like, this is amazing, and your social media has been on par. So I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, just a few of the things that stick out in my mind. One is the body cameras, not only getting the grant, but also creating the policies that were accepted by the rank and file, so that it can be hopefully implemented soon. Also, the active shooter training. That's the type of thing that not only having the police training, but also other town employees, frankly, that saves lives. I mean, God forbid if we ever have an active shooter event, the fact that we've gone through this type of training, I honestly think could save lives. So certainly to be commended for that. Also, the contract negotiations. You've been instrumental in sometimes contentious negotiations, but you've been very level-headed. You've stated your opinions and the facts, and that's very much appreciated. And also the dispatch. The regionalization of the dispatch is going to save the town literally millions of dollars, and not even in the long term, in the relatively short term, because of the capital needs that were necessary, but also the project plan and making it as smooth as possible. And granted, we're not quite there yet, but we're about the 1 yard line. So, certainly kudos for that as well. And I mean, I guess without sounding condescending, I'm very proud of you, Chief.
Thank you.
I've seen you come from a young pup officer to sergeant to lieutenant to a very effective, efficient, and outstanding chief, and you are to be commended.
Thank you. Appreciate that very much.
Yeah, so it's really hard to try and come up with something that hasn't been said yet, but I think the easiest thing to say, it's probably telling, it's very easy to see how much you care about Belchertown, how much you care about your workforce, and how much pride you take in the work that your department does. So I would just like to echo all the thank yous and keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Okay, Steve, anything you want to add?
Well, I'd like to thank the chief for coming in tonight, and I'd also like the chief for what's quickly becoming my first year at the helm, for making it as successful as it has, at least with the police department and his operations. And of course, I think if it wasn't for the leadership of the select board, neither of us would be having this conversation tonight. So I want to thank the board also, and it's a reflection of the chief's performance. So thank you very much. And I did place an order today for a patch for you. And if anybody else wants one, let me know before they sell out. I can certainly do that.
It's a
But
pride patch.
thank you for coming in, Chief, and thank you for the good work.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, sir. 5A, Maud Hawk Friend Show, Creative Economy Director, and Cynthia Harbison, Library Director, to talk to us about a public art project update and the request to approve the creation of a Creative Economy Committee. Hello, Maud.
Do you want to come up?
Yep.
Sure.
I can sit with you. Sit together.
So who would like to go first?
So I'm gonna take the public art project update, and then Maud is gonna do the other. So the last time, I think it was the last time I was here, you were very gracious to approve the Making It Public grant application for us to apply, and we received it. So Maud, myself, and Jennifer Whitehead, who's back there, have been attending a series of workshops as part of that that's offered through the New England Foundation for the Arts and the Metropolitan Area Planning Council's Arts and Culture Department, and they're the two groups that are running the program. And so they walk us through the whole process along with other municipalities for using a call for artists and grant agreements as part of instead of the sort of typical procurement process. And so we completed those webinars this month. Thanks to Linda Leduc with Leduc, am I mispronouncing? Leduc. I'm so sorry. Linda Leduc from the DPW suggested at a meeting that Maud was at that she would like to have the transfer station containers painted to brighten the place up, and that just so happened to coincide with when we needed to sort of determine what our public art project was going to be, so it made it easy to sort of zero in, and Linda's been fantastic to work with. We've met, and her staff as well, we've met there, so to determine to do the 3 different containers that are at the transfer station and do murals of them, it'll be a great opportunity to be our first foray into public art, because it sort of already has the DPW and infrastructure support there, and it'll brighten the place up is our hope, and then also provide some education on sort of the transfer station is really a beginning for where your trash goes, not people think of it as the end, but it's the beginning, because it gets carried off and then other things happening for the recycling. So our next piece is to get community feedback, especially from users of the transfer station, by distributing a 3-question survey. We'll be down at the transfer station, and we're also going to put it in the Sentinel. And then we want to incorporate that feedback into the call for artists, because we really want it to be, what the community, feedback from the community is what does the transfer station mean to them. As part of the process, we have some deadlines that are sort of imposed upon us by the granting organization, and one of them was to develop the drafts for the call for artists and the criteria by which we would judge the art. So we're working on those drafts, which were submitted, and then the finalized product needs to be put together by May 31st for the final call for art, the application, and the selection rubric. And then we'll publicize the art by August 30th, which is, I think, the benchmark for receiving a portion of the grant money. And so we'll be back, I think, before the select board to do, once we have that, Steve was gracious enough to meet with us, and Linda and Jen Turner, to go over some of the logistics, and so we have to get like the grant application and criteria to Steve so that it can go to town council. And then our plan is to create a community advisory body that will participate in reviewing the applications and choosing the artists and working with them to finalize the design, and coming back to the select board to figure out exactly what role they should have, you should have, and all of those sort of details. So that's where we are with that grant process.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
I'm sorry, I'm thinking of watching big trucks come to the transfer station and taking those containers away. Are we talking about doing every container as a new one comes in is going to be painted again, or only going to do 3 and then they're going to disappear when they're taken away for emptying? And I'm just not confused about, maybe it's a different part of the transfer station that I'm
So the
thinking.
3 containers that get taken away, so the murals will actually travel. So what they own the 3, or the town owns the 3 containers.
So they go away, but they come back.
They come back.
Okay.
And they travel.
And they travel.
So the word gets
Belchertown,
out. Sort of.
yes.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they'll see the murals, on the highway. You'll be able to.
Well, they
See
say
the murals.
Belchertown and on the murals.
Yes.
That's like a
Yes.
requirement. So
That's
that
part
people-
of the criteria that we've developed, is we want it to.
All right, thank you. I was just thinking of watching them drive away. And
Is there any truth to the rumor? It's going to be kind of like a Mount Rushmore of the select board?
No, there's no truth to those
It's
words.
all right. It's all right. Very good. How about switching gears to the request to approve the creation of a creative economy committee?
Great, thank you so much. So you should have a committee charge, and as well here it is, a presentation with a little bit more context, just kind of wrapping around this. But really what I'm asking is to bring together shareholders to formalize some of the work that's been ongoing for the last year into a committee, so that it has some structure, it has a certain level of commitment, and it has the systems that can make it really sustainable and continue to push some of this work forward, which would include this mural project, this photo competition, larger projects like the wayfinding signage program, the cultural district, if knock wood, the Mass Cultural Council moves that forward again, among some other key projects, and to really facilitate that work of collaboration, partnerships, deepening those relationships, working together to make sure that our resources are going into best use, and making sure again that this is really sustainable moving forward.
Very good. Have you been working with Town Manager Williams and Jen Turner on this?
Yes.
And
And Cindy Harbison, among many other stakeholders, yes.
I was just more concerned from, is this ready to go tonight?
I believe so, yeah. We had a a start and a stop a few weeks back. We thought we were gonna be in front of the board, and the state changed the program slightly, so MOD was able to react pretty quickly to that, get this back in front of the board so we can move forward. And it's necessary so we can continue down the path to having a cultural district. So I wholeheartedly support this tonight.
Very good. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the Belchertown Creative Economy Committee as a new committee, a new town committee for Belchertown.
With Steve as the appointing authority.
What?
With Steve.
With Steve as the appointing authority.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Very good.
Thank
Look forward
you
to
so
the
much.
contributions. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Nice job, thank you.
Yes.
Final review and vote to endorse the warrant for annual town meeting. I'm assuming everyone's had a chance to read it and go through it for the 50th time, probably.
Yeah,
I
it's-
found a teeny tiny typo that Steve took care of tonight, which switched our
Right,
capital.
so I guess we should talk about that one typo, right?
I thought it was funny.
Well, we did bring in a corrected form, but the typo was Article 9, the capital list. The total should be $187,681. There was a comma that was inserted in place of a period or a decimal point. I'm sorry. So it could have read $187 million, which would have just been a minor clerical error and would have been corrected. But since we got to it beforehand, it's been fixed. What I'd like to point out there in Article 9, I'm glad you brought it up. This is slightly different than the one you saw a few weeks back. A few weeks ago, we had a fingerprinting machine listed on here for a little over $23,000. Chief Paconis had quite a long list of grants that he recently received. He recently received a grant to purchase the fingerprinting machine.
Oh, wow.
Outstanding.
So what we did is we looked at the budget for the firefighter living quarters that's currently under construction by Pathfinder, and we looked for some what we needed to balance that project out. And again, we started at 1.7 million, and we are going to round out somewhere in the $225,000 to $250,000 range when we're done. So we had a few items that were necessary for that project, so we added that in instead. So that is the item number 10 at $22,076. So that's the one change.
Very good. So the question of the board is, are there any articles that anybody disagrees with before we present it to town meeting?
Not one that I disagree with, but another typo under Article 37, CPA for 6 Berkshire Avenue. At 6 Berkshire Avenue by constructing ADA complaint access. I'm assuming that's supposed to be compliant.
Compliance, yeah.
It's 30,
Just 37.
37.
Yeah, about
Spell
Right in
check
the middle.
worked. Grammar check did not.
So
I'm assuming we're trying to avoid ADA complaints.
Yes.
does that, all, we need to, we're supposed to sign this tonight. Is there any problem with signing it with that typo in it? Does it need to be corrected before we sign?
I think as long as it's part of your motion, should be okay. We can refer
So
to.
include in the motion that.
Yeah, if you want to confer with Attorney Corbo, that's one of the reasons he was here tonight.
What
Okay.
do you think, Attorney Corbo?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I think you could take your vote to approve the warrant subject to the correction of any typos and have the board members sign it outside the meeting.
Okay.
Good.
Very good. Any articles or items that any board member disagrees with? Very good. So rather than going through them one by one, we're going to vote them tonight en masse for presentations. So if somebody would like to make the appropriate motion.
So I will make a motion that we endorse this warrant for the annual town meeting for May 13th, 2024, 13th and 20th, 2024, subject to correction of any discovered typographical or clerical errors.
Good. Second?
Any further discussion? All in favor? Very good.
If the board could be available, we'll have this corrected by 8:10 tomorrow morning, so if you could
8:10.
swing by 8:05, if that helps. I know Ron's got a busy schedule, but if at least three of you could get by sometime first thing tomorrow morning to get this signed so we can get it to the clerk, I would appreciate that.
I can do that.
5C, vote for approval of the ballot question for the special town election on June 17th, 2024. Steve, why don't you, this one's a big one. Why don't you give us a high-level synopsis of this item, please?
Sure, thank you. As the board is aware, we are quickly approaching the deadlines to approve the borrowing for the new Jabersbrook Middle School. We have two votes that need to take place. One is the special election, and the other is the special town meeting. Tonight, what is in front of you is the language for the special election. We've been working with council and also with the Division of Local Services on the language for that. MSBA has also reviewed the language, and it's complete and accurate and correct. What is missing from the language is the amounts.
Yeah.
With a debt exclusion, you do not list the amounts in the special election. That will come at the special town meeting. So I think there may be some concern from our residents when they see the way that this is written. I looked at it 6 different ways, and I could find no loopholes in the laws. Attorney Corbo is here tonight to discuss that if anybody has any questions about that, but it was very specific that the amounts are not shown. So for the public record, the numbers that I have as of tonight, this project is valued at $122,600,000. The expected MSBA reimbursement is between 36 and 39%, but if we use 36% as a worst-case scenario, we should receive $44,136,000 from the MSBA, and the town would need to borrow $78,464,000. We have information from bond counsel on the impacts per mill. On a 30-year borrowing authorization, we would be looking at $2.21 being added to our tax rate per thousand valuation. The median home value in Belchertown currently is $432,000. So the math is approximately $956 a year to a median household valuation. There's also an option to have a 20-year or 40-year note. If we went with the 20-year note, we'd be looking at $270 per thousand of a valuation.
Wait, $2.70.
$2.70, yes, I'm sorry. That decimal point's getting me again. And if we looked at a 40-year note, we'd be looking at $2.10. We unfortunately cannot look at a 40-year note because we would need legislative approval, so that's really off the table. We don't have time for that. So that's where it stands. So that's the high level.
Okay.
Well, thanks for, I know your financial team's been working very hard for weeks on these questions, and I appreciate everyone trying to figure out what's it actually going to cost. So now we have some numbers that can be disseminated. I think I would encourage you to find a way to get this stuff out on the website.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we need to be careful because the MSBA does have a specific standard for public information and how it's disseminated.
We'll leave the details to you.
So I will look into that, yes. But I do know that the construction costs are on the Jabersbrook Middle School website that was created for that project. There's a report in there.
Great, and I don't know, can you link to that page from the town website,
Yeah, I'll look into that. That's a good suggestion.
if possible? Yeah, I think it's better to have facts out there, as opposed to speculation.
Sure.
Actually, question, Steve, are we still looking sometime in May for SBAB to make their final determination as far as the reimbursement?
Yes, yep. So we will have all that before the votes are taken. Right now, this is the numbers that we were told to use from the consultant working on the project with the school building committee. And that's how we ran these analysis for the impacts.
Very good.
Just one more question. And also, but the fact that we don't need, well, we can't put a dollar figure in the ballot question, does that alleviate the concerns that the town clerk had with regards to ballots?
Yes, yep. So with tonight's vote, she will be able to get to the printer and start getting the ballots printed, which is important because
it will be on the ballot, the actual numbers.
the numbers cannot be on the ballot.
Okay.
Correct.
What's the, what are the laws around social media? Can you put this on the Facebook page? Can we put this in the Gazette? Can we send a postcard out to, I'm just
Mm-hmm.
spitballing.
Yeah, I think there needs
out
to be
residents.
there certainly needs to be a greater public outreach effort with this project. I know that the school department is managing a lot of that, so what I can do is reach out to the superintendent and try to figure out where those efforts are and what we need to do to follow up.
I've not seen the numbers anywhere, except for, I know that it's on the website for the
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many people are going there, but this is a big increase, and we owe it to our residents to let them know what the impact's going to be.
I agree, and I don't, I guess I don't have a good understanding on why the state mandates the language that's in a debt exclusion and specifically excludes those borrowing amounts. That's hard for me to accept.
Yeah.
I think it's going to create a lot of problems with our residents. They're going to think we're trying to hide things from them.
Yes.
And, that's why I want to put it out there that this is not our decision. I wanted to put those numbers in, and that's tough. But I agree with what you're saying. We need to make sure we get those numbers out so that people can make an informed decision, and they don't think we're trying to hide something.
And I appreciate you saying that.
Right.
Thank you.
Steve, I want to make sure, I've asked the school committee why they haven't done more to get this information before the public. They've had a number of meetings that we've all been invited to attend, but the general public hasn't really been informed. So what I fear is that we're going to hear, why have we not heard about this? Why is this happening? How could you not tell us? And as Lisa said, people are frightened of an increase in their property taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to confirm for me that one way or the other, the town will be borrowing money to either refurbish or basically rebuild the Jabersbrook Middle School? Is that a fact?
At this point, there's one project on the table, and that is reconstruct Jabersbrook Middle School. It's not an either-or.
Okay.
It's not a menu. There's one question. If it passes, we will be borrowing. If it does not pass, we will be going back to the drawing board to try to come up with this alternative plan.
It
The
seemed
school-
we saw that from the consultant, cost for refurbishing once again, because I think it'll be the fourth time, maybe the fifth time, that attempts have been made to bring this school building up to something approaching acceptable and safe. As it is right now, it isn't. So my understanding has been all along that one way or the other, they'll just have to begin from square one and promote refurbishing the school, which in actual fact will cost more money than this new construction.
It
And
certainly
that's a
can.
point that I think it's critical for residents to understand, because absent that information, they're going to be voting no for an increase in their property taxes and not understanding where the town is going to be if this vote goes down.
Yeah, even if it goes back to the taxpayers to refurbish the building, it's still their decision to make. They could still turn that down as well, the borrowing for that.
I see.
The select board, finance committee, the school committee does not have the authority to borrow money
Just
without
choose.
town meeting approval. Because this is a debt exclusion, you also need a special election. There has to be a ballot initiative that passes as well, because it's outside of the normal debt limit.
It's just been hugely frustrating that
It's
very
not an
little
either or.
information.
It's not an
No,
either.
I
or.
get that, but very little information has really gotten out. And I'm told by the school committee that state law prevents them from disseminating that information, which I must be misunderstanding what they're telling me, because that cannot be true. They have a responsibility to disseminate that information.
My understanding is that is in fact true, but that they also have a committee that's specifically charged with information.
Dissemination.
And yet we have
Dissemination and
heard
sharing.
nothing.
I don't know when they're going to start.
They're brand new-ish.
Yeah, they just formed.
But Peg, I think your bigger concern, if the town does vote it down and we have to refurbish it, refurbish the building, there's zero funding from the state. So
Exactly.
the building it where there is some reimbursement right from the state. But I'm sure this is all going to be talked about and vetted about in the next several weeks.
So it's just it's enormously frustrating.
Can I get a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I move the board vote to call a special election to be held on June 17, 2024, and that the following question be included on the ballot for such election. Shall the town of Belchertown be allowed to exempt from the provisions of Proposition 2.5, so-called, the amounts required to pay for the bonds issued in order to pay costs of construction of the new 113,900 square foot Jabesh Brook Middle School and adjacent athletic fields, including the payment of all costs incidental and related thereto, located at 62 North Washington Street, Belchertown, Massachusetts 01007, which school facility shall have an anticipated useful life as an educational facility for the instruction of school children of at least 50 years. The voters can choose yes or no, and I further move that the board direct the town manager to notify the town clerk of this vote and to request that the election be held as stated and in accordance with the election laws of the Commonwealth.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Who was the second on that? Jen?
And in the interest of time tonight, folks, we're going to skip the town manager's report tonight. Any of you have any questions for Steve, I'm sure we have an answer over the coming week. I will also skip the updates regarding ongoing business. And was there any mail that anybody really wants to talk about tonight? No? And if it's okay with the board members tonight, I'd like to postpone these reports to our next meeting, the individual board member reports. Sure. Very good. Item 10.
I move we enter into executive session not to return to open session pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21, Subsection 3, Litigation, Subsection 3, Union Collective Bargaining, and Subsection 6, to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real estate.
Second?
Roll call. Lisa.
Aye.
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 Very good. 7:25.